Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make really jazzy chords and melody in FL Studio. Let's hop straight into it. We're in FL Studio 21, and what we're going to use is actually Labs, which is a free plugin. So let's go to Labs, and we're going to download something called the Soft Piano. This is really good for jazzy chords, and it's free. Let's load this up. So here's the sound of it. Very soft. Okay, so firstly, what we're going to do is understand the 2-5-1. Okay, so firstly, in the major scale, which is all the white notes starting from C, this is called C major. We don't need to complicate stuff. Let's just use C major. Okay, so it's all the white notes. And I teach this in much more depth at busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. That's my best music theory course to date, on top of the music theory essentials. I'll leave both below so that you guys can have more education. So in here, we have C major, which is all the white notes. So this is called the first. This is the second scale degree. The third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh is B, and then back to C. So everything has a scale degree. It's relative based on the notes we use in what's called a scale. Scale is a sequence of notes that sounds good to somebody. In this case, we call this the major scale. Okay, so the way we give these scale degrees numbers is the first note within this scale is called the tonic, or the first. The second note within the scale is called the second. The third note within the scale is called the third, so on and so forth. So to create a 2-5-1, we're actually referring to the second scale degree, the fifth scale degree, and the first scale degree. So it really should be said second, fifth, first. But people get lazy and they say 2-5-1, okay? So these scale degrees are going to map out our chords. Now you may ask, okay, it's only one note. How do we create a chord? And in the old definition of a chord, it says 2 notes or more. It's not just 1 and 3 notes. It's 2 notes or more is the old definition for a chord. And there's reasons why. I go into depth in our music theory magic course. So to create a chord in short from a scale degree, what we're going to do is start at that scale degree and skip every other note within the scale, not on your keyboard, but within this specific scale. So in this case, we're going to go to D, skip E, go to F, skip G, go to A. That's our first what's called a triad because it has 3 or tri notes. Okay, and then G, you would go G, skip A, go to B, skip C, go to D. And then C, skip D, go to E, skip F, go to G. That creates the major chord. Now we're going to take this even further and create what are called chord extensions. So in short, you can keep counting up the scale degrees. So it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. So that's where you get minor ninth chords from, major ninth chords. Okay, so those are called chord extensions if we just keep skipping notes going up the scale. So to make this D minor more lush and jazzy, let's make this a ninth chord extension. To do that, we're going to go from A, and then we're going to skip B, go to C, skip D, go to E. That creates a jazzy tone. Ninth chords are very jazz sounding. Okay, now G, this is not going to create a minor ninth or a major ninth. And I go what in the music theory magic course, I describe the difference between a minor and a major chord. Okay, so it's too much to explain right now. So D, skip E, go to F, skip G, go to A. This is called our dominant ninth chord. Because whatever scale degree is the fifth of a scale, in this case, first, second, third, fourth, fifth is G. This is called the dominant chord. Whatever chord extension we use from the dominant turns into the dominant chord, I guess, is the easiest way. That's where it comes from. And the reason it sounds tense is because it has the diminished chord right here in the middle. And then let's resolve on what's called C major ninth. So let's go to G, skip A, go to B, skip C, go to D. Okay, so that's called a 2-5-1 or a second, fifth, first chord progression. Now what we could do is spice this up a little bit by revoicing this and moving the notes around. So I'll give you guys the shortcut, but I teach this again in depth with purpose. There's something called a tritone substitution. For those who have watched my videos, you've seen this many times, but if you pull this dominant chord down or up 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 semitones is called a tritone. So if you pull it down 6 semitones or 6 notes, that's called a tritone substitution. Okay, it gives you a very jazzy sound. Okay, now what you could do is called alter the notes of this chord. So I like to mess with the fifth and the ninth to alter this chord. So I like to raise those up to make it more R&B. And I'll turn the volume up a little bit. Okay, and then basically you're just going to keep doing 2-5-1. Now 2-5-1 is used because you could leverage that dominant chord to create really cool chord types. So that's the basics of it. Now let's make it a little more complex. What we're going to do here is add what's called the secondary dominant. So now we can go to a whole different key. In this case, we're going to use what's called the relative minor scale of the natural, or relative minor scale of the C major scale. And there's so much to teach you guys, so I'm trying not to give you everything all at once. But here with the major scale, you take the tonic and you just count down 3 to get to your relative major. In other words, downwards for sadness, upwards for happiness. That's an easy way to remember it. So when you're in a major scale, go downwards to sadness or minor. And if you're in a minor scale, go up 3 into happiness, into the major. Long story short, take your tonic, C, and just count down 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. That's now map out the same exact notes that we have here in C major, starting from A, and that's the relative minor scale. That's the easiest way to go from major to a minor scale. In short, if we map out starting from the note A, all the same notes here, I'm just going to copy this to make this easy. Okay, so we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. Now, what we're going to do is use what's called a secondary dominant. Secondary dominant means we're taking the dominant chord of another scale so that we can resolve on the other scale's tonic chord. In other words, the first chord or the first scale degree. It sounds more complicated than what it is. So let's go to the second scale and let's count first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So what we are going to do is take this chord here and, pull it up so that the root note is E. Okay, so that we have that. And then we're going to make sure that the bottom chord, the last chord here, starts at A. So in this case, this is A minor 11. And it has a nice resolve. And the reason it sounds so cool is because we're going out of the C major scale, but we're in the relative scale. So let's hear this all in context. Now, again, let me make a caveat here, is that most people try to skip over chords because they think chords are just like gradients in Photoshop. You don't really need it until you need it. But in reality, melody comes from chords. It comes from harmony. It comes from understanding 2 notes that go together. Okay, so skipping chords is going to make melody making really hard for you guys. Okay, so now you can go in and add little notes in between the chords. So dun, dun, dun. And that's how you kind of keep the ear listening. Okay, so my ear here is dun dun dun. So I'm just bringing that G in a little bit early. So da 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 1, 2, 3. So let's switch this to triplets. Let's see if we get a better. Wasn't the timing I was looking for, but it's better sounding. And that's how you start creating these jazzy melodies. Okay, so now we just need to add human touch to this. So there's a lot of things we could do, like hit Alt-S to strum the notes. And now that timing difference adds that melodic touch because now we have a time difference. Let's clone this pattern so that we don't mess up the original. And then let's hit Alt-S to add that strum. Keep in mind it messes with everything here, so We're gonna have to cut off the excess notes, hit shift, right click with the slice tool. And next we need to add a humanization. Let's go to tools, humanize. You can grab this script from the image line forums. And also velocity matters, so you could hit Alt X to lower your velocity. Now, depending on the instrument, it will have a different articulation. This doesn't work for every plugin. Now we just have to make sure there's no overlapping notes. Okay, so now we can go in and swap out the instrument to get a different vibe. Let's try a guitar and let's try a keyscape piano just to give you guys a different perspective on what the melody would sound like. So now let's go to the Here's one of my favorite sounds from the JD800. But you can see for that lo-fi jazz sound, this soft piano sounds the best for this type of playing style. If you wanted to improv over top of this, what we could do is figure out the first chord type, or the scale type in this case, which is major. Just right click your typing keyboard, go to the pentatonic scales. So if you're writing in a major key, we're going to right click on major pentatonic and then the root key, which is C. And I can improv over top. And now I'm just freestyling. I messed that one up. Okay, so you could just freestyle and it always sounds good. That's the major pentatonic, again, when you're in a major scale in that case. I'm going to give you guys the project file so you can mess around with this. This MIDI kind of got messed up. FL Studio's been acting really strange lately, but we're going to forgive it. So I'm going to give you guys the project files here. Just go to busyworksbeats.com and then go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory to learn more about music theory. Okay, so you'll see the free downloads tab at the top. All right, guys. Peace.